Welcome to Military Wife, Life and Strife, the podcast where we get open and honest about all the struggles of military life. And welcome to the community that has your back no matter what. Come get real about the strife with me, your host, a military wife. My name is Heather, and today I want to get real with you about joining the military. Whether you are marrying into the military or joining the military yourself or thinking about joining the military, or you've already joined and you're kind of getting your feet wet in this first year, this episode is for you. It's for me to share some of the stupid things that we learned the hard way, and hopefully you can learn from our mistakes. And then there's some tips from other members of our military community. So let me give you a little bit of background. I'm going to jump right into our crazy story. My husband and I, we met in high school, but then we went to different colleges. So we were long distance for 4 years, which quite honestly kind of prepared us for military life, but we didn't know it then because my husband at that point had no intention of joining the military, but he did participate in the ROTC program at his university, loved it. And it wasn't until our junior year, he gave me a call and he says, "Hey, I'm thinking about signing up for the army. What do you think about that?" And I felt honored that he asked my opinion. We were still dating, weren't even engaged at that point, but we were serious enough that we knew we were going to be together, Like I knew he was my person. And so I was honored that he cared what I thought. But neither of us had any idea what military life was like. So, of course, I was like, yeah, that sounds great. I was an elementary major, elementary education. And I thought, they need elementary teachers everywhere in the world. So, wherever the military sends us, I'll get a job. And then his senior year, he commissioned into the U.S. Army. And he was told that he would do his training in San Antonio. We both loved San Antonio. I was like, that sounds great. I'll move to San Antonio. And so when I graduated from college, I moved all of my furniture to San Antonio. It was to a storage unit. Thankfully, I didn't sign any lease on an apartment or anything. But I moved all my stuff to San Antonio. I got a job in San Antonio. I got a job teaching kindergarten in San Antonio. And it wasn't until August my husband found out, the fiance at that point, that after his 6 weeks of training in San Antonio, he would be moving to South Korea. What? That wasn't in the plan. South Korea wasn't on our list. Why is all my stuff in San Antonio? I don't know. That was stupid. We were such a mess. We had no idea how the military worked. I don't know why we thought we would just be living in San Antonio forever. So I then had to move all my stuff out of San Antonio into his parents' garage so that when he moved to South Korea, all of our stuff could go together. That was crazy. So then we ended up getting married. 2 weeks later, he leaves for South Korea. I couldn't go with him straight away because there's this thing called command sponsorship. When the army pays for him to move to South Korea, that's not super cheap. And to pay for someone else to move with him, they have to be sponsored by the command, essentially, a command sponsorship. But we had to submit all our marriage paperwork and proof that we were actually married, and it took me a while to get all the paperwork in because I'm a great little procrastinator, but we did. And 4 months after we got married, we finally got to live together in South Korea. A little tip about that was probably the best thing ever for our marriage because we'd been long distance for 4 years, and we decided to get married so that I could go with him to South Korea because we were done being long distance. I did not want to wait until after he got back from South Korea. But that 2 years we got to spend together in South Korea, just us in our own little happily married bubble, it was great for our marriage. It was the best thing ever. It was a crazy way to start out a marriage, but it worked really well. And like I said, we didn't realize at that point, but during our college years, we got really good at talking on the phone because we were long distance. And so we got really good at communicating. Still working on that today, but it gave us a really good foundation for this crazy military life. So, anyway, that's just a tiny little snippet of our first year in the military. There's way more mistakes we've made along the way. But now I want to share with you guys some big things to know. Some of these items come from members of our military community that shared things that they learned the hard way. Some of it still comes from me. But here's a couple things to know. Your top places that you want to move to. Sometimes you get given a list and you get to write down your top few places that you would love to live. Do it. Write them down and then forget about them, because it's very unlikely you will get to go to any of those places. It's not impossible. I actually met someone recently that they have gone to every single place that they put on their list. Good for them. We've been to none. All the places that we've been to were not on our list, and we loved every single one of them. So it's not that bad. Like, it's great to have a list and know where you want to go, but also know that the military will send you where they need you. So it's kind of just luck of the draw if where they need you happens to be where you want to go. We just haven't had that line up yet. So we still have our dream list, and maybe one of these days we'll get there. One of these days we'll move to San Antonio. That'd be great. As we have learned how the military works, we kind of understand better why things go the way they do. So the reason why you don't always get to go to the places you want to is because there has to be a specific job open for you at the specific time when you're going to move. It has to all line up. So we get it. There's a lot of things that don't go super smoothly in the military. Honestly, if that's the only thing you get from today, that's your biggest tip. Things don't go as smoothly in the military as we would like. The other thing that this is from me that I didn't really understand was how much we would move. I don't know why. Like I said, I had no experience with military life and what that really looked like. But I, for some reason, had it in my head that like people in the military move every like 5 to 7 years. I don't know why that number was in my head, but no, it's more like every 3 years, and that's on a good year. We moved every 1 to 2 years for the first 5 or 6 years in the military, and it was a lot more than I expected. And yet now, when I've lived somewhere for 2 years, I start getting the itch of like, okay, where are we moving next? I'm ready. I'm ready to move on. It's crazy the way the military changes you like that. This was another thing that some people in the military community, I actually heard this a lot from people, that they were surprised at how little family comes to visit. Now, I feel like we have been really lucky that we have close family come and visit fairly often. So I don't know if I 100% relate to this, but I definitely understand where people are coming from. For example, when we lived in Korea, we kind of thought everyone would want to come visit us. Who doesn't want to come visit South Korea? And we had a few people come visit, but it wasn't that many. But let's be real. South Korea is really far. That's not a cheap flight to come visit for a short amount of time. And in all the other places that we've lived, they're not in super desirable travel locations. In fact, most army bases, at least, and maybe marine bases, are not in super desirable travel locations. Navy and Coast Guard, you guys probably get some good ones. Air Force, maybe. But most of the time, we're stationed out in the middle of nowhere. No one really wants to come visit the area unless they just want to visit us. And then we would just sit around in our living room hanging out. And I get it. I understand why people don't come visit as often as we might like. But it means that when military families go home, to visit family and visit friends, they want to really, really take advantage of that time. And again, this was something that people said a lot. a lot of the time when you go home and visit, people don't have time to fit you into their schedule. They can't always come and see you. They expect you to come see them. You already traveled. You may as well travel 20 more minutes to come and see your friends from high school. But that's just not always the case. And I've heard a lot of people wish that weren't so. They wish that people would be more willing to come visit them. But also, it's kind of natural in life for people that are in different phases of life or in different areas of the world. Like, you just kind of drift apart, and it's okay to not see everyone from your high school every time you go home. They'll be okay, and you'll be okay. But for us, we prioritize family. We go to see family at least. Here's something else that I've heard other people mention that they didn't know before joining the military. I also didn't totally understand this, that there are different kinds of deployments. There are combat deployments, which is what I thought of as just like wartime in a war zone combat deployment. But then there's non-combat deployments where it's in a peaceful area, but maybe they're just there keeping the peace, or they're doing training missions or training exercises. I don't know. They're there for a reason, but it's not necessarily active combat. And my husband has gone on 3 deployments. 2 of them were non-combat, 1 of them was combat. All 3 of them very, very different deployments. So every deployment is a very real deployment, but they're definitely very different. This is a top tip from our military community. I've heard people recommend that for your first duty station, live on base. Some people have the option, some people just have to live on base or on post, but live on base for your first duty station, because that gives you a real sense of what military life is really like. You really get thrown right into the community, and you learn a lot by being in the military community, right in the center of it. One other thing that I've also heard a lot of people talk about in the military life is how hard it is to make friends. And I think that's true to some degree, but I also think maybe it's just the longer you're in the military, but it becomes really easy to make friends, because within this military community, everyone knows what you're going through because everyone's in the same boat. And so it's actually a lot easier to make friends because people are all looking for that connection. When you move to a new duty station, people want to connect with you. They want to meet people. They need someone to put as their emergency contact. So they need to make friends. That is something that I feel like is very unique to the military life, is asking a complete stranger that you just met to be the emergency contact for your kids at school because you don't know anyone else in the area. I don't think that happens a whole lot in the civilian realm. I could be wrong, but that is something that we've gotten really used to. You meet people wherever you go, and you learn how to connect quickly, and you learn to trust people, which I completely understand. For some people, that is very hard. For whatever you've gone through in your life, maybe it's hard to trust people. And so it's very weird to come to a new place and just try and be friends with complete strangers. So I have some helpful-ish tips for making friends in the military community. So here's Heather's helpful-ish tips. 1 is to join Facebook groups or meetups. There's always tons of Facebook groups in any location, at any military base. Some are great, helpful groups to join. Some are just there to gripe and complain. Sometimes that's what you need as well. But join the groups where you can find a community that you can be a part of and you can connect with other like-minded people. Maybe it's a mom group or a runners group or a workout group or a singles group or a church group. Anything. Another tip I have is to talk to people wherever you go. Everywhere you go, at the commissary, talk to people. Just be open and friendly, and you never know when you can strike up a good conversation. And if you guys connect, exchange numbers and grab coffee sometime. Like, it's really as easy as that. when you're at the 4th of July festival on the military base, or the Oktoberfest. There's always an Oktoberfest on every military base. Talk to people, exchange numbers, hang out later. Like it can be as simple as that. Speaking of Oktoberfest and 4th of July, there's always events going on every base. So look up what events are going on at your military base through MWR, I believe that's military wide. Morale, Welfare, and Recreation. There you go. I remembered it. Look up MWR and find out what events they have going on in the area. Another tip is to join a church. That's always a really great way to get connected with people, jump into a community, and there's always events and stuff going on at churches. So it's a great way to connect with others. So here's my challenge for you all. Go try one of these things and make a new friend. Tell me about it. Or if you are watching this podcast, comment down below where you are stationed and see if you can connect with someone in your area. Also, go follow me on Instagram and join our community. Tell me your stories, message me, tell me what you would like to hear or who you think I should interview. And subscribe to this podcast to continue hearing military stories told by your military Shanahi. Thank you so much for listening. I am grateful for you all. This is Heather signing off. I'll catch you guys next time.